It's time to once again ask the question that's on so many Americans' minds. Is Donald Trump dying? Because it kind of looks like maybe he is. Now, the White House doesn't want you to be concerned about his health. In fact, they would have you believe that he's on top of it. In fact, we just found out from Karoline Leavitt that on Friday morning, President Trump will visit Walter Reed Medical Center for a planned meeting and remarks with the troops. While there, President Trump will stop by for his routine yearly checkup. He will then return to the White House. President Trump is considering going to the Middle East shortly thereafter. And there's two funny things about that. The first is he's not going to the doctor. He's already gonna be there. And while he's there, he'll stop by, because he's in the neighborhood. What are you talking about, man? He's going because he has an appointment, which is fine. You're the one acting weird about it. There's nothing naturally weird about it. Or is there? Because they said he's going for his routine yearly checkup. But he already had his routine yearly checkup 6 months ago in April. He had his annual physical examination. It's not a yearly checkup if you have two of them in a year, unless maybe he's just trying to get his ducks in a row for 2026 and he doesn't plan on having one. But I assume he'll have another in less than 6 months. And they told us coming out of that meeting that he remains in excellent health, your eyes be damned, exhibiting robust cardiac, pulmonary, neurological, and general physical function, and has excellent cognitive health too. Now there is literally no reason to believe any of that. I mean, not only the evidence of your eyes, but you know from the past that the doctors lie for him. That's what they do. So whatever, that means literally nothing. And so we have to look at the other evidence that we've seen. And there's a few points on that. First of all, we know in July that we were told that he'd been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. They noted that it was a benign and common condition, which might well be true, but they only released that because at a certain point, the cankles don't lie. And you need to come up with some explanation. That appears to have been the least damaging explanation. And it might even be true. But again, it isn't necessarily the mark of someone who is in excellent health overall. I'm not even getting down on him about it. It's a thing that affects a lot of older people, but you can be honest about that. Why do you pretend that he's perfectly fine otherwise? And then of course, there's the hand. Now, people haven't talked about his hand in a little bit. Let's keep that image up for a bit because people have not talked about his hand in a little bit. And so I thought, I'm not just gonna come on the damage report and say that he still has his bruise without evidence. So I thought, well, what event has he done recently? And he did his Antifa meeting. So I brought up the video of the Antifa meeting and I scrubbed through that thing, and you will not find his right hand visible on the table for that entire longer than 1 hour video. And that, I think we can all agree, is a little bit suspicious. Now, if we bring up the image one more time, just for a second, there were two things he would do, and I scrubbed through the entire thing. His hands were either off the table, which is a little bit awkward. Now, I can make jokes, I'm not going to. I don't want to ruin your lunch or whatever. But when they weren't off the table, they were on the table, but the left hand always covered the right hand. Now, your hands can cover each other, or they can just sit side by side. Right hand was never uncovered. And that, I think, tells us all that we need to know about the bruise. It's still there. If it wasn't there, or if he had learned how to do the blending of the makeup, then he would be rocking that hand constantly. He would be holding it up to the camera or whatever, but he's not doing it, which I think means that there's probably a reason he's not doing it. And then the evidence isn't just from him. You also have JD Vance, who recently said that he's ready to take over as president if, God forbid, there's a terrible tragedy with Trump. Now, normally he does the thing that they all do, which is I'm only focused on this job. This is the only thing I care about. I'm never planning ahead. And yet that seemed to be on his mind, and not just his mind. Remember, Donald Trump has been talking about whether or not he's gonna get into heaven a whole lot over the past few weeks. And so, I don't know, look, you could say that I'm stretching. I'm just saying, I don't have to stretch without material, do I? There's certainly a lot that I can reference here. And I will remind you of one more thing. Actually, two more, but one more. Back during the 2024 election, he promised to release his medical records. He did not do that. He didn't do it at all, even though generally they do. And so when he has his doctor's release statement saying, he's perfectly fine. He's got those V cuts in his abs and everything. He's great, in great shape. Well, then why don't you give us the documents? You won't. If the documents were awesome, wouldn't you want to release them? And that goes equally for these medical records and for his tax returns and for his, his college grades. Like if like this dude loves to brag and he loves getting credit for stuff. If the documentation would result in people being like, oh, that's impressive, wouldn't he release them? And yet he didn't. And to the cognitive thing, I will just remind you, acetaminophen. Now maybe he's just dumb. Maybe that's not a cognitive decline thing, but it was embarrassing. And also, maybe he just pretended to not know who Ghislaine Maxwell was, or maybe he didn't remember who Ghislaine Maxwell was. And maybe he doesn't know what habeas corpus is. Or maybe he was just pretending to, I don't know which of these is better. Is he a complete fraud and a liar? Or is he falling apart? I don't know. I will leave it to you.